welcome back to another episode of What If Civilization Started Over. This is not my original series, this is a fan series of WICSO based off of Veda's Pro series, and we are on episode 5 now. The last 4 episodes were a part of the first arc of this series, and that is none other than the Ancient Era. But now, in the last episode, we saw the invention of bronze over here in a new rebellious region of the Maroon Country, which is this light orangish kind of country over here. And with this new invention, we're going to see other regions gaining access to this material and using it to their advantage to expand or gain independence. And yeah, we're going to start off over in the Indian subcontinent because we need to do more over here because this area is kind of ignored by me, and I'll admit that. And yeah, we're gonna head over to the tip of the continent, where, if you can remember, this area was isolationist from the rest of the Indian subcontinent. And we're gonna see that reflected here as this guy's gonna declare itself its own separate state. And on the religion layer, they're gonna even be of their own religion, entirely separate from the green religion up north. Speaking of, this is of the green religion, that little area in between it, as we're gonna see next, as we're gonna see the brown country claiming the rest of this land here. And yeah, the brown team is once again over expanding. They're probably cooked. You can't expand that much and expect to not get a whole bunch of countries wanting to kill you. Like the green team's been wanting to kill you, and all these three pretty much oppose you. So yeah, the only thing you got going for you is your land, and I mean, a lot of your land doesn't want to be a part of you. So yeah, why not continue your expansion? The brown team feels trapped by the countries that appeared to their east, so they're just going to explore up into this area here. And their goal with this is to gain an area where they can continue to expand around these other guys. And at first, it's gonna work, but of course, you just expanded and your people don't like you expanding, so you're going to be forced to stop in this kind of region here. Soon after this, we see this brown country here beginning to catch up because they don't want the brown Indian country to control all this land. They want to stop them because otherwise they would be cut off from expansion. These two down here are kind of ignoring that because, well, they have already been cut off from expansion, and they're kind of sad about that. So, yeah, let's head over to Sri Lanka, another area in this region, and we can see, whoa, and we can see that the minty kind of country has gone ahead and explored completely around Sri Lanka, and they're going to go ahead and claim the entire thing. And this also incorporates this to the religion map. So yeah, Sri Lanka and the tip of India are now their completely own religion. And actually, I'm gonna recolor this because I feel like 2 greens is one too many, and it'd be kind of ironic if I just colored it brown, which I think I'm gonna do. So yeah, we now have yet another religion here, but we have something to talk about, and that has to do with the green religion. The green religion is very vast, and it is of many very different people. And we're going to see this thing breaking apart. The Indians feel very separate from the Greens, so they're just going to change. They're going to change some aspects that the green religion had initially that make it kind of like the green team as a country functions. So, yeah, we're going to see the green religion snapping in half, which may be reflecting what could possibly happen to these other religions, except maybe the blue religion, because the blue religion is pretty small at this point. But in this area, we do get to talk about this maroon country because they have been putting in a lot of work. First of all, in the British Isles, we can see that the maroon country has gone ahead and explored a large part of it. And as you can see, they've also discovered Ireland, which is a little telling of their water exploration in the region, as they have gone ahead and explored all the way over to Ireland, but they've also began to explore a lot more of this water in the North Sea, as they kind of see it as their dominion. They feel like they have full control over this region. But now we get to actually check up on the Marin team's expansion, where they're going to claim this chunk of England here, and they're going to go all the way down to Cornwall. From here, we can go over to the Danish region, where the Marin team will go ahead and expand into Denmark, but they're also going to take these islands, and yeah, we're going to see a very similar thing that happened in Britain, happening over here in Scandinavia, as Marin team forces, or explorers, not forces. I don't know why I said forces. We'll go ahead and explore this region, and they're going to set up two, I guess, colonies. One over here in Norway, and one over here in southern Sweden. This southern Swedish one is a lot more populated than the Norwegian one is. And yeah, the Maroon team is feeling pretty confident in their expansion as of yet. We now get to head over to the pink team, which has done nothing. Um, I've meant for them to do more, but yeah, we're gonna have to see more happening now. First of all, they will fully secure the Sea of Azov, as I just colored in, but they're also going to rapidly explore outward. This country is kind of falling behind, and that's not to the fault of their own, that's my fault. Because this guy was meant to do a lot more in the earlier episodes, and I just forgot my plans. Maybe I should write those down. But eventually, they're gonna reach over here to the Kaliningrad kind of region, and they're gonna say, "Yo, we want to expand all the way up here." And the people will question this, like, what? How on earth would that benefit us? And yeah, the pink team, they're just gonna begin to rapidly expand. Um, I Once again, the people are not in favor of this. The pink team is kind of just forcing their people out, and it's gonna cause a lot of trouble internally for the pink team. But for now, they're gonna continue their expansion northward, and eventually they're gonna look something like this, and they're just gonna dart right on over to Kaliningrad here. Very quickly, we're gonna see Kaliningrad get set up as a major, I guess, city until, yeah, that was coming. And you're gonna get completely kicked out of this region. Soon after, we're also going to see them getting kicked out of this region. And then the exact same thing happens over here. Um, in this, if I can color it right, in this region over here on the eastern side of the Azov Sea. And yeah, things are not looking good for the pink team, except I don't like these borders, and I also don't like these colors. So allow me to change them. You get that color, and your border will expand southward. And I think that's actually all I needed to do. But yeah, with this, we're gonna see exploration of Europe rapidly speeding up. And first of all, we get to talk about the Alpine Mountains that I accidentally zoomed entirely into, because this eastern area has fully been explored, as well as most of the northern area, which hadn't really been, like, touched whatsoever. They knew about the south being hard to explore, but the north they didn't really care about because it's the Maroon team exploring. But yeah, the Maroon team, they're gonna explore that, and they're gonna explore pretty easily. But now we're gonna see them working together with this banana kind of color country, and they're gonna link up the coastlines of Northern Europe. From here, Poland is pretty easy to explore, it's pretty flat, and that's when you get to the Carpathian Mountains, and then you can kind of just do that, and it's easier to explore. Eventually, these mountains will also be explored. So, all this European area just got explored in a very short amount of time. And yeah, we're gonna see this happening up north as well, as we see this banana country once again carrying the exploration, as they're gonna go ahead and explore all the way up to Estonia. As well as this island will be discovered not by them but by the Maroon team. And we're gonna go ahead and see a lot, and I mean a whoa, wrong color. And we're gonna see a lot, and I mean a lot, of the Baltic Sea being explored here. it gets so much to where the entire Gulf of Finland has been explored, and Åland has been discovered. I think it's Åland. I might be wrong. But yeah, this is the current map of what is explored in Europe. But that's not really all, because then we gotta account for the Carpathian? Caucasian mountains over here, which are kind of fully explored at this point, yet no one really cares to claim much of it as of yet, but we're just going to color this in white, as we're going to see a lot of these countries now beginning to expand into it, or particularly this new dark bluish kind of country that formed, as well as, you guessed it, the red team. And the red team, they're a little slower because, of course, they are absolutely ginormous. But yeah, they're going to be expanding into this. And so will the orange country, who will kind of just take Azerbaijan and call it a day. And I guess that's a strategy, but like that's not really doing you any wonders, because your goals are kind of over this way. So yeah. Anyways, back over to this region, we're gonna see most of the sub-Caucasian area being fully claimed by the red team, as they're going to go ahead and claim all this land up to here. And I'm going to change this border a teensy bit to where it looks like that. And I think this border looks pretty good for now. We'll come back to that area later. But for now, we're going back to Europe, where this area needs to be claimed. First of all, this banana country, they're going to be claiming all of the Polish coast, as well as a lot of this Latvian area here. And they're just going to begin to expand downward. And yeah, this thing is already ginormous, but nobody really cares. This weird yellow, weird country will explore, once again, expand into this area as well, but they don't really care about this area nearly as much, so they're not going to be as intent on doing so. From here, we head over to this pink country, the light pink country, where they're going to see an offshoot of them happening. They didn't want to expand into the Carpathian area, that's right this time, so we kind of just see an area of them breaking off and doing exactly that. And they're gonna become pretty large, about as large as the light pink country. But somebody's pretty mad about this country existing, and they kind of blame it on the light pink country. If you don't get what I'm saying, the Bulgarian country is mad at these guys. And yeah, from here we get to talk about Dalmatia, who will go ahead and expand northward once again. These guys are pretty expansionist as of since they gained their independence. And yeah, at this point, we're going to see yet another weird offshoot kind of country forming, and this time it will be in this region here, as it will kind of just begin to expand, and it's very underpopulated, but nobody really cares about stopping it from expansion because, well, once again, nobody really is in most of the area they're expanding into. And yeah, from here, we're going to see the light yellow banana-ish country once again expanding southward, and they're going to meet the border of this light blue country, and they're going to take all this land here. From here, the light blue country will claim all this land over here in the east. They're also going to expand even more westward. But at this point, yeah, it's become a lot harder for this thing to do anything. We're going to see their southern chunk breaking away. Following this, we're going to see them dividing into two, with the eastern chunk taking this color and the western chunk keeping the original color. So with this, Eastern Europe's looking a lot more colorful, but I do not like the borders, so I'm probably going to redraw new borders sometime soon. I don't know when, but that's going to be happening. Heading over to the German area, we're going to see this country that is in Poland. They're going to go ahead and claim this area up here, as well as this island. And the Maroon country will meet their border over here, taking the rest of this land. And at this point, a lot of Europe has been claimed just in this episode. And we're going to see a break happening from this, because we need to go ahead and talk about this little bubble in Arabia, and we're just gonna see the red team doing that. And that is a problem, because not only does it make them the largest country in the world, I think they might have already been. Yeah, they were. but it also makes them really unstable because none of this area wants to be a part of you. And we're going to see this firsthand over here in Anatolia, where this yellow country will be waging war against the red country, and they're going to be doing some damage. And on the first few days of the war, the yellow team will see complete advantage, and they will take a lot of coastline over here. Soon after, we see them taking this more inner area, and eventually, we're going to see the red team laying down arms because, ironically, they cannot defeat this yellow country. But soon after this, we're going to see this blue country doing the exact same thing, and they're going to be expanding into this area here. Unfortunately for them, they won't be able to conquer any coastline areas, but they will be able to expand outwards, and this will do them wonders, as now they have a lot more security over here, and also over here they're going to expand on that a little. But yeah, from here, we're going to see the kind of complete collapse of the red team in Anatolia, as well, first of all, the area they just invade invaded will kind of just leave. This area will just say adios, and the red team can't really care because if they did, they'd be waging a losing war, and they don't want to be doing that. So they kind of just have to let this thing go without like any of their own preferences on this country. Like they don't get to choose the borders or whatnot. And yeah, this thing will see a lot of success in setting up. And from here, we're going to see this yellow country taking even more land. Um, Greedy much, but no, just kidding, because the red team is the true hog here. Now we have 4 Anatolian countries, and I'm going to change your color a teensy bit so you're a little more visible against this guy. I think that's better. But now we have 4 Anatolian countries. I think that's better. But now we get to head elsewhere to Oman, where this area will be breaking away, and they will be forming their own country. And this is a color I'm surprised I haven't used yet, but we're going to see the Omanis breaking away using this color here. And for now, this thing will kind of remain in rebellion against the red team, but it's also going to kind of be established. So it's still a little weird, but yeah. And guess who's going to be joining up on this? Of course, the blue team is going to be joining up on this. And it's going to be a very similar case here, where the blue team kind of just has occupied land, but the red team isn't really capable of fighting them off right now. They're kind of just standing still because they don't know exactly what they want to do. From here, we can go ahead on over to this. I almost called it maroon, this like dark pink Moroccan country, because they're going to be exploring a lot. And that's not it, because they're going to be exploring all the way down here. Oh, we're not done. All the way down to Guinea-Bissau, which is very, very far. And this has been going on. This has been going on for a very long time. And yeah, similar things are happening in Asia right now that we're probably going to talk about either later in this episode or in the next one. But yeah, there's a lot happening across the world right now. None of this is happening all at once. All that is really basically known is that this has been happening since the pinkish, dark pink country formed. Ever since the brown country in India was formed, they've been exploring into Southeast Asia, and we're going to be talking about that later. Maybe not in this episode, but later. Anyways, back to this. We're going to see that once again, the Moroccans have been massively exploring, but they've also been massively expanding because now they look like this. And that makes them, I believe, the largest country in Africa. They might still be beat out by the blue team, but I have no idea. But they're also going to go ahead and claim these islands over here, which aren't fully explored around, but they have been for quite a while, actually. It just hasn't been updated, so you could see that. But yeah, once again, back to water exploration. Um, yeah, we see that the Moroccans have been doing quite a bit towards this, and I think that's the only area that was lacking in water exploration. But now, lacking in land exploration, we can head on over to the Horn of Africa, where this thing has begun its exploration, and no one is really like intent on taking this over. But we're gonna go ahead and see this Sudanese country expanding, and that's gonna make some people mad. So these people were kind of just gonna leave, and they're gonna go ahead and set up a country over here in the Horn of Africa. Anyways, now we are down in Africa, and we can head on over to Asia, where we're gonna go ahead and begin the beginning of the exploration into Southeast Asia. These guys have been exploring quite a bit, and they're going to make their way over to Burma, where the first new country will be established. This new country will be of this light-ish green color, and they're going to do pretty much nothing. And that's where we're going to stop for this episode because we're going to resume there in the next episode. And really quickly, I need to outline the coastline here. And yeah, we saw the red team beginning to lose land to a lot of their neighbors as they are on the collapse watch list. As well as that, we saw a split in religion over here with the green religion as India went ahead and split off from the core green religion. But I didn't really go into this, and I'll be talking about this more later when I come to this region, which I don't know when that will be, but that will be sometime this episode. Anyways, we're going to start off over here in Europe because this area here is a little underclaimed, and I want to have this area claimed. To start off, we're going to grab this dark bluish country, and they will be expanding up northward. They're going to be taking over about all this land here, and that's all they're going to be getting for now. From here, we're going to see this purple Venetian kind of country getting all this land here. That's all they're going to be getting for now. And yeah, from here, we're going to see the maroon team beginning to push down to cut off these other countries from expansion because, of course, these guys are land hogs. They want all the land for themselves. So that's what they're going to do is they're going to meet the border of this purple Venetian country. Again, I I don't know what to call these countries. It's just gonna come out as something random each time, probably. Like, I might just call them a purple country next episode or something. They're probably not even gonna come up next episode, but yeah. We're also gonna see the Maroon team claim all the land I just colored in there. From here, we're gonna see this light blue French country claiming all of this land here. And at this point, there are only a few unclaimed areas left, and we're gonna see these areas getting claimed. First of all, this area over here, I'm just going to give it all to this light blue country because if I'm going to be honest, the way these borders are looking, none of these guys will probably be existing. Even these guys down here. These borders are so bad that they're just probably just going to get completely redrawn at a certain point, and a lot of these countries are probably going to have to bite the bullet, if I'm going to be honest. So, yeah, let's head back over here because I want to get this all done and over with. So the Alps are magically explored, but that's not all because we're going to see these guys continuing to expand up as we're going to see this dark blue country meeting this area here. We're going to see the Venetian country doing a little bit of the same. They won't expand nearly as much, but they're going to expand quite a bit. And from here, we're going to see the Maroon team claiming all this alpine area here. We're going to see the French Blue Country claiming this area here. But now, there's something we need to talk about, and this is alliances. We haven't talked about alliances whatsoever, but there are a few that actually do exist, and they've kind of been forming while I've been doing a lot of these other things. So now we're just going to kind of see these things coming out of nowhere. It doesn't make sense, but just know that these countries have been building their relations for a little bit now. The first alliance that we'll go ahead and form is going to be over here with the French country as its head, as this country will be forming an alliance with a few of their neighbors. The first country is the inventor of bronze, this Brittany country here. They're going to join up with this alliance. And finally, we're going to head down over to Iberia, where we're going to see this darkish purple Galician country joining up with the alliance as well. Next up, we see our next alliance forming, which will go ahead and have a square as its symbol. The first member country of this will be none other than the Maroon country. And following this, they're going to add the Polish kind of weird country over here. They're also going to add the Venetian country down here in the Italian area. So that's two alliances, and we have one last one that has existed for probably the longest, but they're just not really doing anything, so it doesn't really matter. And that is the Triangle Alliance. It's an alliance that was kind of formed by the Lime team. Initially, it was kind of just a defensive pact with them and their former colony. I don't really know. That is this dark pinkish thing. And as well as that, they also have this Carthaginian kind of country in this alliance because these guys are pretty friendly with them. When these guys linked up, it was friendly. When they linked up with the Libyans, it was a little less friendly. And of course, there are hostile relations with the Roman kind of country here. So this Carthaginian country was kind of looking for protection just in case some kind of war went on and occurred. So yeah, these three alliances are the alliances we're looking at. It definitely doesn't function as alliances do today because otherwise, because if it did, then I mm, these countries wouldn't want to spend everything to protect one another. And yeah. Anyways, let's head over back to the red team who is collapsing really badly. And they're going to see yet another rebellion on their territory. This time, it is the largest rebellion that they have seen to this point, and that will be the rebellion that they will kind of just name the rebellion off the Red Sea coastline, and that will not be that color. I don't know what's going on, but we're going to see a rebellion appearing over here in this region here. And this Red Sea rebellion is the strongest rebellion that the red team has faced yet, and it's going to cause a chain reaction. And that chain reaction will first be seen up here in this kind of Georgian area, where we're going to see a country breaking away, which will call itself Georgia. And this country is weak, but they think with how many rebellions now exist, there's an opportunity to gain independence. And it might be a golden opportunity at this point. The next rebellion that will be forming will be over here in this area in the remainder of what they have in Turkey, as this region doesn't really want to be a part of the red team, although they despise these other Anatolian countries. The only reason they remained in the red team up to this point is because they didn't want to be like unprotected against these guys, and then they kind of saw these guys battle against their territory anyway, so they're just leaving the red team now. They've proven that they can't protect them when it comes to what they need whenever they need it. So they're just going to break away at this point. And from here, this is actually going to spill into their neighboring countries because we head on over to the orange team where we're going to see a similar kind of thing happening to the Georgian rebellion, where we're going to see a rebellion happening in this Azerbaijan kind of region. And very quickly, this rebellion is going to spread. But this rebellion is going to spread in a completely different way. Instead of it being multiple different rebellions, this thing will all group us, group up as one rebellion, and eventually this thing will somehow manage to gain its independence away from the orange country. And yeah, this thing, it might have just formed literally just in this episode, but they're gonna be hunting the red team here. They their ops. I don't know like what this could have been invoked by, but this Azeria country really wants the red team gone. And you know who else wants the red team gone? The green team. The green team is going to launch an invasion into the red team, and very quickly the green team will gain a very key area over here, and they'll also cut off the red team from any unopened area. At this point, we're going to head back down to this Omani area, where we're going to see yet another rebellion happening. This time over here in the UAE, this area is going to revolt away, and we're going to see this group teaming up with this Omani group. And at this point, these guys are kind of just pushing them back entirely. And the red team, they're scared, like reasonably slow, but they are very scared. So they're gonna try and cut deals with most of these groups. And the first group they're going to be cutting a deal with is this group all the way up here in Georgia. And this will basically say, you're independent and we're going to draw up some borders for you. You're not going to do whatever this guy's doing over here. And yeah, you're just going to get land. You're going to be free. you're not going to do anything stupid, so yeah, don't do anything stupid. Now we head on over to this darker blue country, who will also be gaining its independence, and they're going to be shrunk down in some points, and they're also going to be given some land at other areas. So yeah, we're gonna see them losing this giant chunk of land, but in turn they will actually be gaining the remainder of the red team's coastline along the Black Sea, which is a very key point because the red team kind of really wanted to have that. So yeah, poor red team. Next up, they're going to be making a deal with the blue team, which will basically look basically how it did, except I'm just going to fancy it up. If you can't basically see what I'm doing here, I'm trying to begin to make the borders look better because at this point, borders look horrible, and I don't want that to be what this looks like forever. So we're just going to be changing each and every one of these borders, at least for this area for now, so it's easier to do later. It's less of a work at one point. One area I don't think I'll need to touch up at all is Anatolia. I kind of like how these borders came out, nevertheless, so I'm going to be keeping these borders here. And I'm going to be changing this border up here a teensy bit. I know I changed it in the last episode, but I feel like with this new independent country, it makes it feel a little different. So yeah, that's my explanation for why I'm going to do that. Next up, we're going to head over to the green team, who will be gaining land, but I kind of just gotta restrict them a little because if they gain too much, then, well, yeah, the green team is not suited to keep control over that, so we're gonna have to see them not be ginormous. And next up, we head over to the two guys down here who will be gaining their own independence as well, because once again, the government of the red team wants to peace out with most of these groups because most of these groups are a little too powerful in their, I guess, army count, more likely than not. So yeah, the red team will kind of be forced to let go of most of these further out rebellions from their main territory. So yeah, that's kind of once again what we're going to be seeing here as this Omani country will be expanded. And now this is what the red team is looking like. Two groups have not made peace with the red team as of yet, and these two are the two most powerful groups. The first group is the one up here in Azerbaijan, who will have most of the resources of the red team now pointed straight towards them, which is gonna deal some damage, but the Azeris will actually hold out pretty well. And then there's this rebellion, which is kind of obliterating the red team. The red team literally is not gaining any land on any front line with this guy, and it's kind of surprising because, I mean, the red team overall is definitely stronger than this guy, and they're kind of just beating you up. So, what are you going to do about that? Well, at this point in time, there's probably absolutely nothing they can do about that. So, they're going to try and let this thing go in hopes that they can wipe out the Aziri kind of thing up here because this is draining too much of their resources. And so, we're going to see this weird, once again, I don't know what to call it. I called it the Red Sea Rebellion earlier, but it really isn't. Of course, it doesn't encompass the entire Red Sea whatsoever. So, like, yeah. And more so, it's a desert state. So, I mean, like, yeah. And this is what the borders of this country will now be looking like. I really like this border. I might change it up a little bit in some areas because, yeah, I don't know. It kind of looks it looks weird with how the red team kind of fully surrounds it, but that's kind of alluding to what's going to be happening in the future. So yeah, let's go over here to Azerbaijan now, where we're going to see the red team completely obliterating the series at this point. But then yeah, you can't just 1v1 a country without them calling out for help. Because now we head down to Yemen, where we're going to see a massive rebellion happening. This area down here is very populated. It's the most populated area south of this line here, and it is pretty strategically important for the red team because if they lose this, they lose basically all access to Africa. That's outside of course, going through the blue team, but like that's just not really worth it because then you have to deal with the entire blue team. If you had this, you could just go just straight around all these countries into this Eritrean area. Unfortunately, if they lose that, they're not going to be able to do that. And yeah, this Yemen thing is pretty strong, and I'm using the wrong tool. So yeah, this Yemen country, they're very quickly going to gain a very solid sphere of influence over their area, and the red team will begin to panic. Panic has set in almost entirely, and we're going to see them losing even more control because we head over to the island of Cyprus, which is going to go ahead and get swiped by this pinkish country. Nobody is letting the red team get away. The red team is the strongest historically speaking, but not at all with what we're seeing here. The red team's getting pushed around, they're getting absolutely obliterated. I really doubt the red team is anywhere close to a top power at this point with how much they've lost and how much they will have to pay to the people who are beating them. So, yeah, you might want to let this thing go now because you're not beating it. And that is exactly what they're going to do. Is they're going to go ahead and release Yemen to be its own country with these absolutely awful borders, but nobody really cares. And yeah, that's going to do exactly what the red team hoped it wouldn't. Because now another massive rebellion will go ahead and formulate over here in this coastal region here. Great. That's your second most populated area south of this line. What are you doing, red team? It's like you're promoting it. But that's not all, because we're going to see yet another rebellion forming, and this time it's going to be even worse, because this rebellion is in your third most populated area, but it's also your most strategic area south of that line. So, yeah, the red team's a little cooked, and all these rebellions are showing that the red team is incapable. And so we're going to see the red team kind of just saying, okay, okay, we get it. You guys win. We are going to make a peace deal with all of you so you guys can get your land and whatnot. But for now, we want to focus directly on this guy so you guys stop rebelling. And so we're going to see the creation of three new countries, if I can do this right. Because, I mean, yeah, this is going to take a bit. I want to try to not have to edit this, so I want to have it most in one clip. I've been getting better and better at doing that, but I don't want to mess things up. So, yeah, that's going to be our first country. It's a massive desert, so nobody lives there. It's not really meaningful to lose, but a key importance is that it separates this Yemeni country from this new country up here, the one from the rebellion. It separates them. I wonder why the red team did that. Maybe because these two countries would probably get friendly and would probably oppose the red team. Next up, we head on over to this guy who is going to lose a tad bit of land in the north here, but they will be gaining a little land over here in the what direction is that? That's the west. I know my directions, I promise. But yeah, at this point, this is what the Middle East is looking like. And the red team is not looking all too good. So much so that despite all of their efforts, they're going to see yet another rebellion happening on their territory. And yeah, at this point, you should stop trying. Like, I don't see what you're trying to do at this point. Whatever it is, it's not working, and you should stop because this rebellion is it's not populated, but it's very telling. And I keep saying stuff while I don't have things to represent it, but yeah, this rebellion's gonna be a pretty big one, and it's pretty big that it will literally influence areas outside of the red team to join it. So yeah, this rebellion will really put in the work against the red team as it begins to push out and towards the center of the country. This thing will vastly help out the Azeris, who have at this point been pushing back the red team for quite a while now. They have definitely gotten an advantage, and yeah, they're basically going to invoke one final rebellion up here in the northern area of the red team, And this rebellion will be a not that color. It's gonna be. It's hard to find colors at this point. Um, just give me one moment. I think this is a color we're gonna roll with, and we're gonna see yet another rebellion being proposed by the Aziris, and this is going to force the red team back into a corner they don't want to be in, and so they're gonna force the independence of this guy over here, and they're gonna begin talks with the two remaining forces they're at war with, so they can get out of this war, because if you keep fighting this war, you're definitely gonna keep losing more land. And let's go ahead and see what this peace tree is gonna go ahead and look like, because, I mean, I still haven't found the color I want to use for this guy. Actually, I think I like this color. Let me know, because I might change this. I don't know if this color is good or not. But yeah, we're gonna see a peace treaty being created, which first of all is going to push this guy back a little bit, because this guy is probably a little too big for their own good. Second of all, we're gonna head on over to their border with the Aziris, because that should probably also not be this smooth. So we're gonna see this being the border that we create, and I think I like those borders. We're gonna see more change in this region soon, but for now, that's all we're gonna see for this pinkish country. Now heading on over to the treaty with the Aziris, the red team will be forced to spit out quite a bit of land, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not all too much, because they could have lost way more. Now heading on over to this brown thing, they will not be getting this area all the way to this side. That will remain under the control of the red team, but this brown country will continue to expand across areas it didn't even have conquered, including part of the Azeri country. And at this point, I think I'm done with this area for this episode. We'll just let this linger, and I'm probably gonna change this up a little. I think, yeah, that looks better. Yeah, let me know what you think about these borders. I think I'm gonna start doing them now. This Middle Eastern area looks pretty cool, and I'm excited because this looks really fun to use. And yeah, let's head on over to Europe with the Lime team, because the Lime team is in a similar situation to the Red team. They know that a very populated region of theirs wants its independence, and they kind of don't have the resources right now to prevent this country from coming into existence, and so they're gonna kind of be forced to let this thing go. And this, as I'm coloring in, is going to be the region of Catalonia, and this region is pretty valuable to the Lime country, because, well, it's a very key area. It gives them access to a lot of the area up here in the Mediterranean, but now they kind of have to go around them, which is a little annoying. And I'm gonna smoothen up some of the borders here. I feel like this doesn't look as good since I've been drawing in borders, and actually that might be all I have to do other than actually edit this border here. I think this is about good. Yeah, I think these borders look great. And yeah, staying in this region, we have yet another rebellion happening, and this rebellion will be happening in the French country. But this rebellion is hardly a rebellion. It is kind of just a group saying, "Oh, we're sovereign now," and the French government will accept it on one term. And this term will be that this country will go ahead and join up with their military alliance, which we can go ahead and show back up on the screen. And we're going to go ahead and add this country into this military alliance, because, of course, that was on the treaty paper, so they could gain their independence. And yeah, the Triangle Alliance is kind of wishing they did the exact same thing with the Catalonian country, but they didn't. So that's unfortunate. And I might go in between this episode and next and polish up some of these borders, because there's some things that definitely look odd to me, like this area right here, which I'm going to go ahead and fix right now. I actually don't know if that's fixing it, but I'm gonna leave it like that for now. But yeah, let's head on over to Scandinavia, where these regions don't want to be a part of you anymore. Poor Maroon Team, because they're gonna see some rebellions happening in their territory. The first one that will be happening will be over here in Norway, as this Norwegian country will go ahead and declare its independence. Following this, we're gonna see one happening over here in Sweden, and this will be a little bit of a harder rebellion, but eventually the Swedish country will be able to manage its independence, but it's gonna be a little under the influence of the Maroon team, even though, of course, they do have their independence now. And I have no idea what's happening with the coast here, and I'm gonna probably have to fix this later unless I can finish it in this one clip, which I think I will be able to. I hate it when it just leaves these pixels. I don't know why it does that sometimes, and then other times it just doesn't do anything at all. But yeah, let's head on over to India to talk about this religious split. And the religion really only split because of two reasons. First of all, geographic differences. When the Green Team made their religion, it was kind of influenced by the geography of the Persian region, which obviously is not the same geography as the Indian region. The Indian region is more hospitable, per se, and these guys kind of don't like those aspects of the religion. Most of the stuff is like about praying to the mountains, and they feel as though that's not exactly what they align with. More so, maybe the people that are up by the Himalayas up here, but who knows? And then the other main principle is that the religion in the green part, the darker green part, the OG green part, is unethical. Like, they do a lot of torture stuff to quote unquote satisfy their gods because they believe that their god needs sacrifices. That is one of the examples of how the green religion is probably not the best religion to subscribe to, but these people think it's right. So, you know what? You can be right in your own minds, not mine. You're wrong. You're dead wrong, green country. But yeah, these guys separated because of that region because of that reason, among many other smaller reasons that I just have no reason to talk about. But now we're going to be ignoring everything that I just said because we're going over here to Southeast Asia because these guys will be exploring across this area. I don't know what part of this is jungle, so we're just going to say they make their way across, and eventually they're going to reach the Vietnamese area. Eventually, we're going to see a country going ahead and setting itself up in this newly explored area, and this will be a reddish, pinkish Vietnamese country. They're gonna be not important at all for now, but they're gonna be there, and they're gonna be square. Just kidding. Because now we're heading over to this Bangladeshi area because this area has definitely been explored a little more at this point. So yeah, let's reflect that, as well as all this area north of India that's definitely been explored. We're gonna see a lot of this now coming under certain countries' controls, and the brown team is expanding once again, probably not of the best interest of their civilian population, says this group in the middle of the country who's going to declare their independence, and they're going to get it because, I mean, the brown team can't fight you anymore. They they barely have a functioning government. They're on the verge of collapse. Like, these guys are actually cooked, and I don't really think there's anything they can do to save themselves. I mean, other than stop expanding for a little bit, maybe that could help them. But I feel like at this point, you're a little too far gone. Who knows? Maybe they'll clutch up. Anyways, we head on over to Bangladesh, where we're going to see yet another country forming. And this country will be, gotta find a color. They're gonna be of this shade, and I'm gonna take a little bit of land from this guy. Sorry, weird green Burmese country. But yeah, you're gonna be losing a little bit of land to this Bangladeshi country because, yeah, the world wants to be linked, and this Bangladesh country brings that. I've added capitals for, I think, every country. I might have missed one. If I did, please point it out, but I don't think I did. And yeah, let's jump right on into this now officially. Why don't we? So yeah, in the last episode we saw a lot of these borders coming out looking something like this, and I want to kind of start doing that with some of these other borders, more particularly over here in Iberia, which is what I think I'm going to be doing right now. So yeah, the basically how I'm gonna fit this into the lore is a lot of these European countries don't like how their borders are not fully defined. So they're just gonna like go up to their neighbors and they're gonna say, "Yo, can we refine our borders?" And for the most part, a lot of these countries will say, "All right, that's cool by us," and we're just gonna do that. But yeah, I think that's about all I have to say on that. Um, I don't know exactly how I want this to look, but I think this is how I want Iberia to look somewhat. I'm probably going to move this guy's capital a little over so it doesn't seem like it's completely off to the side. But I think this is what our Iberia will go ahead and look like. For now, we might change it, I don't know. But now let's head on over up to this area, which is the area that looks arguably the worst. And let's start off by giving this blue French country a little more coastline here. They probably deserve it a little more than this Brittany country does. I mean, the French country has less coastline than them. The Brittany country is probably not as strong as they were at the start of the Bronze Age, but they might still be kicking. We'll see later in the episode, in fact. But yeah, we're gonna see these guys having their borders being redefined, and I think that will go ahead and look something like this. I think I like those borders, so we're gonna keep those. Now, the Maroon team, they're gonna be taking some land from the uh, bluish country and vice versa. So to start off, we're gonna see this area over here being given over to the maroon country, whereas the bluish country here will be gaining a larger share of land. Although how much value this land has, I have no idea. But yeah, we're basically gonna see this whole area here breaking away, not breaking away, being like reassigned rather to these different countries. Now, these two Italian countries, they're mostly fine. I think I'm just gonna adjust this border 18t bit for the Venetian kind of country. But other than that, I think these guys are pretty good with their borders, except for over here. I'm gonna redefine this as well. And for now, I think that's actually going to be all that I'm gonna do with that. I don't like this border up here. I think I'm gonna do something like this. And I think now that looks perfect, actually. I really like that. And I'll probably consolidate a lot of these other borders some other time when I have more time to do stuff like this. And yeah, I'm gonna smoothen this out a little bit so it looks a little more natural, and I think that works perfectly. And that's enough yapping about that. Let's talk about these two Scandinavian countries, which one has their capital literally on the edge of their territory. Because what have these guys been doing? Well, they've been doing quite a lot, actually. This Norwegian country, they've been exploring this mountainous coastline area. They've been doing quite a lot, and they've been pretty good at doing it. The Swedish country, on the other hand, has been exploring into this eastern Scandinavian coastal area, and they have put in a lot of work into exploring it, and they've kind of spread there. I don't want to say they have because this is a lot of area to spread into, but let's just pretend they have because these guys will be expanding upwards into this area here. Whereas with this blue country, first of all, they're going to expand around their capital, then they're going to expand a little this way, but more importantly, they're going to expand along all this coastal region here. I feel like that makes the most sense, even more than claiming this area over here. So, yeah, they're going to go ahead and do that. And now these guys actually are noticeable on the map. Before, it was very hard to spot them, but now you can actually see them. But now we head on over to the British Isles, which, at this point, the Dutch Marinish country definitely knows what these islands look like entirely, and they've probably been fully explored. but if not, they're going to be fully explored here, as you will see in a second. Similar to the last episode, I'm trying to do this all in one clip. I've been getting better at it because I want to have to edit this less so I have more time to record other videos tonight. So, yeah. Now we're going to see the Dutch-ish country, once again. I don't really know what to call them, claiming all of this area here. They're going to claim most of Scotland, not all of it. They're going to set up a kind of colony over here in Ireland. It's not really, though. And at this point, this maroon country is definitely overstretching themselves. They are a ginormous country. And, yeah, you're probably not going to stay ginormous forever because, I mean, look at what happened to this guy, and more importantly, look at what happened to this guy. They they lost like all of their land. I mean, their valuable land they still have, but I mean, they lost like probably 3/4 of their entire empire just in the last episode. That is wild. And yeah, let's stay in this region because this pinkish Persian kind of country gained its independence in the last episode. And they're going to be building upon that independence because they're going to be expanding outward. And more importantly, they are going to go ahead and consolidate their borders with their neighbors because I don't like how they look and I want to have this look done now because this region is going to become very important in just a second. So I'm trying to create pretty cool borders here, and I kind of really like that, what I accidentally did over there. And they're also going to do a similar thing with the orange country here. Gonna do like that or something. And I'll give a little land to the Azeris here, make it look like that. And I think I like this, except for, of course, this eastern border, which I'm going to change. And now this is this new country here. And yeah, now we're gonna go ahead and see this guy doing something that was brought up in the last episode, but hasn't really been relevant as of yet. But now this one will officially become relevant, or I guess this idea, and that is the idea of being in an alliance, as we're going to go ahead and see the Persian country forming an alliance with a few of their neighbors. The first country joining up with this will be the Green Team. Why would the Green Team join up with this? Well, the Indian country has been eyeing them up ever since they kind of split off of their religion. Once again, the core green religion over here in the actual Green Team is a little more unethical than the Indian branch of it. And the Indian branch might want to spread their religion into this part of the religion, so who knows? And finally, the other member joining up with this alliance is a little bit of a confusing one because it doesn't make sense why they would join an alliance. That's going to be this emirate kind of country over here in the northern Omanese area. They're going to join it because they want protection from their neighbors. They do not trust this Omani kind of country down here. They fear for their life, and yeah, that's about it. So we now have 4 alliances, and each of them haven't really done anything. But now we're gonna see something happening within an alliance member, and this will be happening over here in the Circle Alliance because the Circle Alliance will have a member experiencing a rebellion. And this rebellion will be happening in this far eastern area of the French country. This area is not really relevant at all, so it's going to be pretty easy for a rebellion to kind of just appear. And this rebellion will start off pretty weak, but it very quickly will grow in momentum, and it will very quickly assert itself as a power. Eventually, this blue French country is forced to give up. Their allies, notably, did not help them. Their allies kind of just left them to die, and the blue French country is kind of looking back on that, and they're gonna kind of question their involvement in this alliance. But at least we have another country in this area, right? We all love that, right? We like new countries, right? But now we gotta head on over to Africa, where I feel like this area is underdeveloped for how long these countries have been here. So let's explore a little bit. The Moroccans definitely have been working on exploring parts of the Sahara, so we're gonna see that happening here. And I mean, the Egyptians definitely have been. They're more definitely focused on the Nile area, but we're gonna see a lot of this area getting explored nonetheless. And we'll come back to the Horn of Africa and this western coast here. But for now, we're just gonna see these guys expanding inward. And while we're at it, we're once again going to see some border consolidation. First of all, I'm gonna do like that so I can draw the border a little better. But yeah, we're gonna see some brand new creative borders being created so these guys can actually look cool on the map instead of just look like blobs, which is, I mean, it's not a bad thing, but like, I don't want blobs personally. The blob look might look better to some people, but not me. And yeah, at this point, we're going to see that the Cyan team and the Pinkish country are definitely the strongest countries in this Northern African area. Probably, maybe even stronger than the Egyptians, who are kind of falling behind at this point. We'll see, though. Now, heading on over to this purple country here, they're going to expand a little bit over in this area, but overall, their focus is kind of just on expanding southward because their country is very small and very underpopulated, definitely, so they want to work on that. So, yeah, this is our new updated area of Africa over here. Let's head on over to Egypt, who is going to create a new border over here in the western area with this Libyan country. Because, I mean, why not? I'm running out of things to yap about if you're picking that up, so I hope this doesn't ruin the quality of this video. I mean, at least episode 5 did well. That's a plus. But yeah, we're gonna ignore what I said earlier about stopping with the bubbly kind of borders because I don't want to draw on borders for this guy because they literally only have one border neighbor, so there's really no point. And yeah, I think that's all I want to do over in Africa for now. We'll come back to this area later. And let's head on over to Asia, which has definitely had some stuff happening behind the scenes, so let's check up on this exploration. Since the last episode, they've definitely had all this area up to here explored. Of course, I just didn't cover that, but now up to when this video started, they're probably up here in this kind of area up here. I mean, it doesn't take as long as you may think to explore this. I mean, now that I think about it, this area would probably have been explored a lot earlier than when I'm saying it's been explored, but you know what? Let's just ignore that and let's just watch these countries expand. In the Vietnamese country, oh boy, do they want to expand. They're going to kind of curl around this coastline here, and they're going to take over Hainan Island and push up all the way to this area here. Eventually, though, however, we're going to see a brand new country forming over here in this area of China. They're just going to become their own thing. Following this, we see people continuing to explore northward and northward up into this region here, and then eventually they're going to make their way over to Korea, where a lot of these people will kind of just say, oh, this is the end of the road for this. We're just going to set up here and form our country. So, yeah, we just saw two new countries form over in China and Korea, and I'm liking how this map looks so far. I only wish that all the ideas for future events from like 50 ages from now weren't coming in so I can get ideas for this age now. Um, Unfortunately, that's not happening though, so this age might be lame. Or will it? Because it's ending today. Yep, it's ending. And it's going to be ending in a few minutes because we are already 15 minutes into this recording. The best retention time is like 22 minutes. We got to end this soon. So let's head on over to Europe, where we're going to see these few countries slightly expanding. I mean, this has been happening, so might as well just watch it happen, watch it unfold. This country over here in this kind of Kazakh area, I think I'm going to recolor them to maybe something like this. No. How about this? I kind of like this color, and I feel like it works for the region because they're all these different kind of similar colors, but they're not the same. So yeah, and I already have a that kind of red over here in this guy, which I mean probably not gonna exist much longer. But you know what? Let's just no need to explain. That country needed to be recolored. They were next to the orange country. I feel like that's explanation enough. So yeah, let's get into the finale of this arc. We head on over to the Maroon country, which ever since I last talked about them has gone ahead and fully taken over Ireland and Scotland both. And with this, they have officially become the strongest country in the world. So what are they gonna do with this status? Well, if you remember a few episodes ago, Brittany declared its independence from the Maroon team, and they kind of made it known that the Maroon team at that time was weak. So the Maroon team, now being the strongest country in the world, feels as if it's necessary to get back at that. One small problem though. The Brittany country is in an alliance, and if you attack this Brittany country, you're triggering that alliance, and that alliance is gonna probably match you, and the chances of you getting your allies into this war are pretty low. So what do? Well, you do exactly what they did for them to gain their independence. You're gonna get a brand new mineral, and you will utilize it to oppress them. And hence, we're going to see the Maroon team inventing the material known as iron. And iron is first seen as not a big deal because the Britannians, in particular, thought that bronze was always going to be the only go to thing. They didn't think that there'd be anything better. And of course, as we know, bronze is much better than, I mean, iron is much better than bronze, and bronze is kind of not a good thing to have in comparison to iron. The way this world is functioning is one country gets material, it uses that material, and eventually it spreads out. That's how the Bronze Age worked, and it's exactly how this Iron Age will work here, because the Maroon team will be launching an invasion into the Brittany country. Maroon team forces will rapidly begin to push into the Brittany country, and at first, the Brittany country is overwhelmed. And that is until their allies show up on the front line and help them push back up at Normandy. Eventually, however, the Maroon team will see a breakthrough in the core region here and will cut off the Normandy front. From here, they will send a smaller part of their army to fight off the French country here as they'll push into their northern territory area here. Eventually, we're going to see the Brittany country lose full control over Normandy, and at this point, the Maroon team has kind of secured themselves as a dominant power in this war. Unfortunately, though, someone will kind of have to ruin the fun, and that country is the Swedish country over here, who will be launching an invasion of Copenhagen Island, which might not be a smart decision because technically that's an attack on the alliance of the Maroon team. So realistically, this guy and this guy will be getting involved in the war, and they will be, but the Swedish Navy kind of outclasses these guys even then. So we're just gonna kind of see the Swedish guy doing what they want to do, and that's kind of just happening to the side. And so now the Maroon country is gonna reallocate some of their resources to fighting off the Swedes. So that will give the Britannians, I still don't know what these guys are called, but that's gonna give these guys a little bit of breathing space so they can secure their capital region, as well as the French, because their capital is actually closer to the front line than the Britannians are. But I mean, it's probably easier to capture this capital than it is to capture this one, because you can easily cut this one off, whereas this one, it's a little harder to cut off because, I mean, this is what you're working with, this kind of front line here. You're pouring downwards instead of pouring, I guess, around like this. So it's not as advantageous as you would think. So yeah, let's resume this war, because, I mean, this is sure a distraction, but the Maroon team doesn't really have much of a worry about that. So yeah, you know that counteroffensive you had, that's not the Maroon team, Britannian country. Yeah, that's gone, and your capital is completely isolated. At this point, the Maroon team will go ahead and begin to threaten the capital of the Blue team, and it's at this point that the remainder of this alliance that the Britannians had will go ahead and surrender over to the Maroon team, and in return, the Maroon team will choose to leave this border alone. And now it's just a 1v1 between the Maroon team and Brittany, and obviously Brittany will lose this 1v1 against the Maroon country. So yeah, they got absolutely swept, and let's see what this treaty has in store. And I mean, I could get rid of this Brittany country, but I feel like leaving them around would do me much better future wonders. So we're not going to do that, and instead we're going to see them being forced to lose like all of their land except for actual Brittany. And yeah, of course, we didn't see the French country being forced to lose any land. And actually, I'm gonna change that. They're gonna lose this small bit of land here. I feel like the Maroon team has that kind of authority, and they're gonna use it. Next up, we head on over to Sweden, who, of course, never was pushed back, so they're going to be gaining that island from this yellow country here. And they're also going to be gaining Copenhagen Island, which will do them wonders because, I mean, the Swedish country, they were probably not meant to be able to do that. They probably shouldn't have been capable, but they were. So yeah. Anyways, that's actually gonna do it for today's episode, and that's also gonna do it for the Bronze Age. This mini movie will probably be uploaded on Friday the 13th. Haha, funny. But yeah. Um, I don't know how the rest of this series is gonna exactly continue. I don't have my plans written out yet, but all I know is that the next age will be lasting a little longer than this one did. This one was only 3 episodes. I kind of find that a little not. How do I don't know how to say this, but like, I kind of find that lame. And I mean, it gets the point of the Bronze Age out, but I mean, the Bronze Age was barely about bronze. And I kind of want to make the future ages more about what they actually are, but when it's just a new material that's been invented, it's a little hard to do. So, until after the Iron Age, we're probably not going to see much of cool ages because I can't really go into them as much. I have something planned for after the Iron Age that will probably be in a way, the funniest thing the series will present. It has something to do with this region over here, just so you know. And yeah, I'm gonna stop yapping so I can take this thumbnail and actually upload this video, because I don't think I actually had any parts where I messed up anything, which is surprising for once. So, yeah, if you made it all the way through this video, make sure you do subscribe. That means a lot to me. The 5th episode of this series performed really well, and tomorrow, as of when I'm recording this, it is still the 8th of March. Yeah, that episode did really well. I'm hoping the 6th episode does just as well, because, I mean, if it does, we're probably gonna hit 200 subscribers by maybe Tuesday, and that'd be great because it'd be really funny because I have a concert that day. If I just perform that concert and then come home and have 200 subscribers, that'd be really cool. So maybe do that for me. Except I can't really convey that because this video is being uploaded the day after that concert is happening. So yeah, I don't know about that. I might state that in the video I have planned for Tuesday, but I don't know. Anyways, what was I saying? If you made it all the way through this video, make sure you do subscribe. And if you haven't seen the previous episodes, watch them. I'm pretty sure anyone who's watching this video has probably seen the 5th episode, or possibly even the 6th episode at this point. So, yeah, if you haven't watched the full series, I do have 1 through 4 in the first arc. You can watch that, and then episode 5 and 6 will be their own separate thing. After this, I'm gonna upload the arc, so the second arc. So, yeah, you're probably not missing out on much, and that's enough yapping from me. Have a great one.